Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya salah, hayya salah, hayya falah, hayya falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Praise be to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His assistance. And we also ask for His forgiveness. Whomever Allah decides to guide, there's no person, place, or thing that can lead him astray. And whomever Allah allows to be led astray, there's no person, place, or thing that can guide him to a straight path. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and without any partners. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his servant and a seal of all prophets that came before him. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Brothers and sisters, I advise you as well as I advise myself, fear Allah as he should be feared, and die not except in a state of submission unto his will. I would like to greet you brothers and sisters today who are in attendance and also who are live streaming with the greetings that have been handed down from all believers one to another, which is one brotherhood. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is only by the grace and mercy of Allah that I come before you today to remind you with a simple reminder. I ask Allah to please guide my tongue and purify my intentions. It is a beautiful day today, and one of the most important days of the week, Salat al-Jum'ah. And it's always great to see brothers and sisters in attendance. You know, since the COVID epidemic hit, it's been very skimpy as far as our communications once among another. And it's good to see familiar faces. It's good to see the life in the masajid. And I want to welcome everyone to the Fifth Ward Islamic Center for Human Development. Today is a basic and a fundamental reminder in which I come with. And as always, it's something that I meditate upon during the week. You know, this week I've been meditating on this particular example from one of our beloved messengers or prophets, and it's Ibrahim alayhi salam. And you know, one of the most important things is understanding our duties as being believers. You know, while we were created, you know, we were created to worship. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Jabbar, meaning the one who compels or the one who sustains the individual. And Allah compels me according to His will and plan. You know, I have my will and then we have Allah's will. And my duty as a believer is to conform to the will of my Rabb, considering the situations and circumstances that be taking place in my life. You know, it's not a one-day thing. You know, I do the Shahada, or I recite the profess openly the Shahada that there's no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and that Prophet Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Then comes the acid test of calling myself a Muslim or a believer. You know, Al-Jabbar is therefore, he's one who compels his individual, you know, his creatures to follow his will through what has been written. And he is the one who decides of everything, who can fix the affairs of all things that we may endure or encounter. Allah has a divine will, and He may impose His will on everyone and everything in a strict and precise way. And nobody is able to challenge it. I'm going to say that again. Nobody is able to challenge it. You know, it's like struggling to do something. You know, the Quran speaks about us being created to a life of pain, toils, and struggles. La khalaqna al-insana fi kabad. Verily, we have created man into a life of pain, toils, and struggles. So what are my struggles? You know, and I always got my favorite motto is you're going to struggle doing the right thing, you're going to struggle doing the wrong thing. But which struggle pays dividends? Which struggles bring me peace and release to make me accept whatever it is that I'm enduring in which Allah has written for me to challenge? Which, you know, Imam Muhammad speaks about, we have to be willing to come up out of this elementary state of being, following the stories in the Quran, you know, and see how these concepts or perspectives deal with our lives on a daily basis. You know, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he was a human. He was a human being just like me or us. You know, which is a very profound statement that I needed to hear to let me know that he felt just like I felt. That he went against his emotions just like I'm supposed to strive and go against my emotions. Because I'm dealing with something that pricks my conscience and make me aware of things that I really shouldn't be paying attention to at times. You know, so this particular subject is a very basic, but I was speaking with a friend before I got here, and he told me he liked the science. You know, when we hear things, it's just information. And information without application is just information. You know, how can I call myself a believer and go against everything that I'm enduring on a daily basis? Remember, we talk about Al-Jabbar. He is the one who compels. So which areas which he's compelling Yusuf to deal with whatever situation that Yusuf is being confronted with? You know, there's a saying, this prayer that God grant me to surrender to accept things that I cannot change. You know, but the courage, I have to have the courage to change some things on my own because Allah is not going to do it for me. And in this reminder, inshallah, we'll be able to reach some sort of understanding of what it is that I'm trying to drive home with. And we know that Ibrahim alayhi salam had a natural desire to be upright. He went against what he was taught. Where did he get the knowledge or understanding to go against what his father and the people at that time was worshiping? You know, we all take on what our parents give us. You know, I know when I grew up in the church, I did everything my parents did. But Ibrahim had a natural desire to go against that. Where did that come from? You know, Kiyam he was Hanif. Okay, Hanif is a natural desire to be upright. Don't nobody have to teach you that. You know what I mean? No matter what you're involved with, what you're going through, you have a natural desire to be the best. You know, you look at LeBron James, you look at Stephen Curry. You know, everybody's excited about them when they first come into the league. They're good at what they do. But then as soon as they become confident and start bragging about what it is they've been blessed with, then they become the enemy of all those because they just want to see them lose. Where does that come from? What does the individual have to identify? The fact that my duty as a believer is to conform to whatever is being presented to me in a positive manner. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam speaks about finding 70 reasons not to, you know. And you know, backbiting is a real serious issue today in society, in the community, in the world at large. You know, it's so easy for someone to give their opinions on what's going on in life, and you take on that. You know, Aisha spoke about one of the wives of the prophet, and she ain't said a word. She said, Safiya is like this. She gave a gesture. And Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you was to stick one finger on, excuse me for not saying it verbatimly, but I'm trying to make a point here. He said, if you was to stick one finger in the ocean, it would defile the whole ocean. She didn't say nothing. She made a gesture to make fun of somebody. And there are many hadiths I was studying last night in that book James got over there called Hiatus Sahaba. And there are a lot of stories in there about backbiting and making fun of people. Something that's a very serious sin to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know. And the reason why I'm bringing Abraham into this fold of what I'm trying to say is because it was a lecture by Imam Qasim Ahmed where he asked Muhammad Muhammad, may Allah have mercy upon them both for forgiving their sins and granting paradise, where he said that Hanif and Qiyam, what's the difference between the two? He said, don't they mean the same thing? And the man told him that Hanif is a natural desire to be upright. And Qiyam is something that I have to establish to make myself upright. And Kama, it means to stand. And Qiyam comes from the word Kama, the root word Kama, which means to stand firm, to rise, stop, come back to life, rise against, persevere in, to maintain. So I have to go against, you know, there's also a hadith that speaks about going against our own selves. This is a real serious issue, and it's basic, but it's real serious on how I have to go against me on a daily basis. How I have to get up every morning after making Fajr Salat and kind of just think about the day I had before that and where I went wrong. You know, what did I do wrong yesterday that I can do better today? That I should feel bad about doing, because ain't a day go by when I don't do something where I have to repent for, or give my opinion on something, because it's a part of my nature, not because that's who I am, but that's because how I've been conditioned in this society. You know, you could turn on any talk show, Maury Povich, Sally Jensen, Raphael, Oprah Winfrey, everybody talking about somebody, discussing somebody on what they did. You know, and it's so easy to get caught up, you know, just like the guy that got 110 years yesterday, a 25-year-old truck driver got 110 years yesterday for killing somebody. I mean, for losing control of his 18-wheeler and killing 4 people. And everybody was on that giving their opinions. Man, you go through you get real irritated going through the comments on people saying, well, he deserved it. And you got some saying that, well, he should have been more experienced. Everybody's giving their opinion. You know, everybody has an opinion. But think about what Allah has revealed. Why did Allah allow a situation like that to happen? What is it that we need to learn about that situation? What is it that he needs to learn about the situation? You know, this is what we have to understand, that if somebody's compelling me to experience something and I'm experiencing it over and over again, and I don't learn to accept it for what it is, then I'm going to continue to be in friction or frustration or competition or opposition to whatever it is that Allah is trying to reveal to me. When all I have to do is accept it and go through the pain, because it's going to be painful because I have no control. I'm going to become angry because I have no control. But when I understand that Allah has designed this in order for me to develop in a spiritual manner, to develop some form of spirituality, which means I have to understand rather than to be understood all the time. I don't have to make my point be known or understood. I have to learn how to go with the flow, accept it for what it is, make do it for somebody, and see what it is about myself that I need to change. Because it's really for me. It has nothing to do with what's going around me. The situation was created to see how I will respond to that. Now, Hanif comes from the root word Hanafa, which means to lean to one side. If I'm experiencing something, if the pain has gotten great enough, it's going to force me to the other side. That's natural. If it's hot in here, I'm going to go cut the air conditioner on. Ain't nobody going to tell me to go cut the AC on. Like I got here earlier, James wasn't here, Brother James wasn't here. I came in and cut the AC on because I know if I wouldn't have cut the AC on, I'd be sweating by now. So it's like identifying the situation that's taking place and making the right decision to make it better, because Allah has given me the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding to be able to make a correct decision. It also means to incline. Sometimes we have to just join in with what's right. It also means to stand firmly on one side. You know, in the Quran it speaks about the steep path and why it's so important. In I think that's Surah Al-Balad, where the city, it's called a city where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it speaks about that particular verse in which I recited about Allah created us to a life of pain, toils, and struggles. And it speaks about, let me stop. It says, verily we have created man into a life of toil and struggle. Thinketh he that none had power over him? He may say boastfully, wealth have I squandered in abundance. Thinketh he that none beholdeth him? Have we not made for him a pair of eyes and shown him the two highways? I remember in elementary school, that was the first thing I learned. Life is a two-way street. You know, and I just said earlier about I'm going to struggle doing what's right, or I'm going to struggle doing what's wrong. It says, but he hath made no haste on the path that is steep. So that's the uncomfortable path that I have. The path that I keep running from is the path that I have to take in order to become what Allah has written for me to be. The path that I keep, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, hell is surrounded by desirable things, and heaven is surrounded by undesirable things. And it says, what will explain to thee the path that is steep? It is freeing the bondman. Now this is the remedy, or the giving of food in a day of privation, to the orphan with claims of relationship, or to the indigent down in the dust. Then will he be of those who believe and enjoin patience, constancy, and self-restraint, and enjoin deeds of kindness and compassion. Such are the companions of the right hand. But those who reject our signs, they are the unhappy companions of the left hand. Do you call yourself a believer, but you're constantly unhappy? Are you just informing people about you being a Muslim, or are you out there being a Muslim? You know, this is what the example of Abraham, alayhi salam, experienced. This is what Moses experienced. This is what Isa, alayhi salam, experienced. This is what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam experienced on a daily basis. Trying to interact with ignorant people who was ignorant of the fact of the oneness of God, who had grew up with bad habits and conditions that was imposed upon them before they found out who God was. So that's what a real struggle is. The real struggle is understanding rather than trying to be understood, having the patience, the tolerance, the understanding to deal with the ignorance of what we have to face on a daily basis. So what I'm trying to push home to is that Islam is not a comfortable religion. If I got the answer, it's my duty to make sure somebody else gets the answer. But I must go through the process of creating a bond between who I'm trying to help see, because I don't have that power. What I do is make myself present, deal with the patience and tolerance of that individual, make do it for that individual, and allow Allah to express himself through my personality, my character, my actions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. In our conclusion, and in this particular reminder which I'm bringing forward today, I think Imam Muhammad, if I'm not mistaken, said everything is connected. And I don't know what that means for somebody else, but I know what it means when I heard it for the first time. You know, we fast for a particular reason. We're not fasting just because we're required to. There is no cure for the issues of what I dealt with before I got to this religion. It can only be treated. It can only be treated through maintenance. I'm going to say that again. It only can be treated through maintenance. The formula in which I have to maintain the maintenance of what it is that I'm trying to implement is through prayer. You know what I mean? Through fellowship with people who think alike, like minds. To remain vigilant, sober-minded. And fasting is a two-part word. Siyam are things that and it comes from the root word sama. And it means to restrain from something simple like food, drink, sex, you know, the simple things. But Sawm, S-A-W-M, is a different part of what fasting means. It means and implies a specific act. I'm going to say it again. It means and implies a specific act, which is to worship Allah, abstaining with intention to please Him. So I have to be willing to struggle and give up something that's blocking me from Allah's mercy and grace. I had to give up some things in order to become who I am today as a Muslim. I couldn't, because I came up in here with all my defects. And I was in this religion with a kufi on, with the characteristics of a street person. And I had to identify that first before I can be willing to give that up to my Creator, because I didn't have the power to remove it. You know, I got a call from someone yesterday. You know, I'm the coordinator of our drug and substance abuse program here at the center. And I struggle with addiction myself and alcoholism. And addiction is alcoholism. It's not the drug or substance itself. It's the manifestation of doing those things. So it's the behaviors and characteristics that I practiced that led me to that, to relieve the spiritual pain that I was experiencing at that particular time in my life. You know, and I had to make a conscious decision to clean myself up. I had to change people, places, and things long enough to identify what was the causes and conditions of my problem, and come into this religion, because Allah tells me He won't change my condition until I change it. I tried coming in here thinking it was going to change just by fellowshipping, and it don't work that way. I had to find out what was blocking me, because whatever drove me in here was painful enough for me to come in here having the spiritual experiences and call out to something that I didn't know, something that I couldn't touch or couldn't feel. So I had to clean myself up before coming into this religion properly. And then I have to struggle to maintain the ability to deal with that on a daily basis when it crops back up. And what I mean by that is that everything that I experience always comes back. It comes back in different forms and shapes and fashions and environments. But it's up to me to seek refuge at that particular time to my Creator to relieve me of that, whatever it is that's overwhelming me. So, Qiyam is the establishment to be upright. So I have to maintain the desire and the attitude to be an upright individual, in spite of my temptations, in spite of my trials, and in spite of my anger, because these are natural emotions of the individual. These are things that I'm going to deal with on a daily basis. You can't deny it. And they're going to always come back. And if I'm pretending, it's going to come out in an outlandish fashion to where somebody's going to recognize that he ain't sharp as he say he is. He ain't as calm and humble as he say he is. He slapped that dude hard. That dude didn't do nothing to say one word. So it's always a button that Shaitan is whispering, trying to push, that's going to make me snap. And if I'm walking around here like ain't nothing wrong, and I'm not honest enough to speak with somebody about it, it's only a matter of time. You know, people snap every day. I mean, going postal. I remember with going postal, I didn't understand that at first, but I understand why people go postal. They just lose it. You know, they strive, and they want to blame that everybody's the problem. People, places, and things, or they hating on me and things like that. But people never look at the the part that they put themselves in to experience that. And usually we play a part in what happens to us. Allah say all good comes from Him, but all bad comes from ourselves. So what is it about me that I'm not comfortable with, that I'm not willing to accept? The fact that I'm bringing it upon myself. In the simple way is being dishonest. Sometimes we won't tell people how we really feel about it, because we're afraid we're going to hurt their feelings. But that's a form of being dishonest with yourself. If somebody playing on you or using you, and you don't want to hurt their feelings and you keep on letting them use you, it's only a matter of time. Telling somebody how you feel may hurt their feelings, but they'll understand how you feel, and maybe they'll treat you different. And I suffer from this sometimes. I just be like, I ain't even worried about it. Why? Tell them how you feel and do away with it so you can take that pressure off your back. Because it's going to be uncomfortable when it comes out in a way unexpectedly. When all you had to do was speak up. You know. So Hanif is a natural position for us to be upright. And Qiyam is the establishment of, or the effort, like I say, to be upright. And it says right here, it says to stand firm, to rise up against. So I have to go against what I'm feeling based on what I know. And when I make a proper decision to do what I know, it changes how I feel. Did that make any sense to anybody? I have to go against what I'm feeling because of what I really feel like doing. I know it's going to cause me pain and anguish, so why do it? But I'm so familiar with it, and the feeling is going to feel good for a small period of time, but the consequences and repercussions of my actions is going to be long-lasting and frustration and embarrassment and things like that. So individually, internally, we are divided with a dual nature. We know our flesh is pulling us this way, and our thoughts are pulling us that way. You know what I mean? We know what makes us feel good. We know what makes us don't feel good. But if we're honest enough with ourselves to know that what makes me feel good doesn't last, then I can go against what I know is right and find joy in going against what I really feel like doing for the sake of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If there's anything that I may have said that may have helped somebody, I ask you to please give all that glory to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If there's anything that I made a mistake and said wrong, I ask you to please forgive me for my laziness, because I can do more. But alhamdulillah, Allah is the best of planners. We like Allah to strengthen our families through these trying times of, to give us emotional stability, understanding, the ability to be compassionate and loving and kind to our neighbors, to those who make us feel a certain type of way, those who we don't like or who we think we don't like. We ask that Allah please give victory to all Muslims around the world over those who hinder them, and please give them the ability to respond in kind. Now come to Salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya salat, hayya salat, hayya falat, hayya falat. Qad qamatus salat, qad qamatus salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.